an old curiosity shop. Every once in a while I go by there for the fond recollections that lie there in that old curiosity shop.
Hi everyone, I'm Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop. Welcoming you back to another small thrift haul, and we're not on the kitchen counter today, obviously. I have a few selected things here to show you, a couple of things you've already seen, but some really nice things that you've never seen, and we're going to take a look at those. But before we do, today's cup of coffee is brought to you by
a cup of coffee, a sandwich, and you, a cozy corner, a table for two.
You've seen this before, and from where you're sitting, you probably think it's an anchor-hocking Fire King jadeite classic D-handled glass mug. Well, it's not. And I'm actually going to sell this. Do you remember what this is? Well, it's made out of ceramic or porcelain or pottery, and it's got the name Similac on it. That's right, that's that baby formula. And it's in a classic mid-century shape, classic mid-century jadeite. This clearly dates to somewhere from the 40s, 50s, even into the 1960s. And I bought it last summer. Don't really need it, so I've decided I'm going to go ahead and put it up for auction. It'll probably sell for, I don't know, $12, $15, $18, maybe $20 at the highest. And so it's not listed yet, but once I finish this coffee, I'm going to take some pictures of it and I'll be getting it listed. Now don't worry, I haven't run out of things to sell, but I will tell you this, it's getting pretty, how shall we say, slim pickings around here. Now, none of us have done any thrifting in weeks, and we're not going to be doing any thrifting for a month and a half. Folks, it could be May 1st before we're actually able to get back out there. I don't really know. And it seems somewhat insignificant considering what we're all going through. And I'd like to take a moment to just give you my best, let you know that not only do I keep me and my family in my prayers, but I also pray for our country and our nation and other countries around the world, because we're not just in this ourselves here in the US, folks. This is all over the world, as we know. So there are times when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, gee, I'm not allowed to get out and do a whole lot. We're not supposed to. We have pretty strict rules here on the East Coast right now. I don't know how to sew masks, but I can always pray. So I send my prayers up for, as I said, for all of us. Now, I can't promise I'm going to be able to bring you videos every day, because as the items that I have for sale begin to dwindle, I just kind of feel like I just don't want to come on and go blah, 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 blah for a half an hour for no reason at all. So I'm going to try to think of some creative things, but I may only be popping on once or twice a week, maybe every other day. Who knows? I might get the spirit and pop on every day. But hope your families are doing well. I'll tell you, over the weekend, I didn't really do any videos because there was an announcement, I believe it was late in the day around midday on Saturday, that the president was thinking of imposing enforceable stay in place, don't move, for New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. And most of you know, I live in Philadelphia, but I'm from New Jersey. My elderly parents, they don't mind me saying elderly. We don't get a hang up over that. They are 75 and 80. Hey, as I said in a video before, it's just, we don't have an issue with it. So I hope you don't either, anyway. Making sure they're okay, and all my older aunts and uncles and everybody that's in New Jersey. Well, anyway, what happened was the president hadn't made his decision, and none of us really knew what that meant. So there wasn't, pandemonium, but a lot of folks were thinking, oh no, can I leave New York? Can I leave Connecticut? Can I leave Pennsylvania and cross the bridge into Jersey? We weren't really sure what was going to happen. So I did make a quick trip over there, and I was busy with that on Saturday and Sunday. Those restrictions didn't go in place, and even if they do eventually go in place, I think we're still going to be able to travel from state to state. But right now, things, as they probably are in your community, it's pretty tight here in the on the East Coast. The thing is, you can't get anywhere without crossing a bridge, and as many of you know, the states are a little smaller over here, and we're all connected. So we can go from Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey just within hours. We can be in all 4 states, and we have to cross over rivers because, of course, when this part of the country was founded, a lot of the state's borders are actually rivers and so forth. So there wasn't a whole lot of, we really didn't know if if we were gonna be able to have to wait in lines to get from state to state. But right now things are good. My folks are good in Jersey. They're all set for 2 weeks. Made sure they knew things like CVS is delivering medication for free. I was showing them some certain things on the computer that they could do. There's some art classes you can take for free. There are cooking classes. If you listen to NPR, you're familiar with the program on the weekends called Milk Street with Christopher, can't remember his last name, but that's the American Test Kitchen. They're giving free cooking lessons. So there's a lot of things that you can take advantage of online and to sort of keep us busy and help us pass the time. So I'm going to show you what you can't see, but it's on the table right here. And then I'm going to tell you why I am dressed up in this garb, okay? All right, so let's go and get you some. What are you having? You know me, I'm always coffee. Sometimes it's tea. It is coffee today, hot coffee today. Sometimes I have to remember I don't always have to speak and run on sentences. But I have a lot of energy. So I usually do go blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, by the way, thank you. I have received so many nice emails recently and folks saying they just enjoy tuning in, and not just to me, but to a lot of the other thrifters as well that everybody watches. It's sort of it's a diversion from what's going on in the world right now. And it seems kind of, I don't know if superficial is the word, but for me to sit here and talk about depression glass when we're experiencing such horrific conditions in the world seems a little odd, but I know life goes on, and so I'm trying to continue with the routine and continue to offer you some lighthearted entertainment and a little bit of history to help pass the time. And I really appreciate the folks that have encouraged me to keep doing these videos. Just, listen, you guys are fantastic. You watched me put a puzzle together and then do a hideous fashion show with those Barbie doll. And I knew nothing about, but I'm actually learning about Barbie doll clothing. So it's good all around. Okay, stop talking and show the people what you've got. This you've already seen, but it's up for auction now, and it is a depression glass cheese. This would have had an underplate called a cheese and cracker. The plate would have matched this dish, would have been gilded like this. This is uranium glass. It does glow under a black light, and there is a gilded edge to it, as you can see, made by one of the better glass companies of the 1930s. Okay. And you can put cheese on it, you can put candles on it, you can put your Similac coffee cup on it, what have you. Someone would like to eat his fancy feast off of this, but he's not going to. The cat is doing well, he's napping. Let's get this out of the way. This isn't for sale, and you've seen it before. It's an absolutely stunning Heisey candlestick. And it's in a Colonial pattern, and I cannot remember whether it's called Williamsburg or Mount Vernon or Monticello or Play the Cello. I can't remember what it's called, but something Colonial. And it does have the H and the diamond on it, indicating that it is Heisey. It's a great big stick, and it's just beautiful glass. The clarity of it is beautiful. So I'm telling you all that, but it's not for sale. But what is for sale are these Cambridge extensions. And I have two, and I showed you these before, but I am now listing them. And I've got two of them. And these are chip-free, crack-free, dirt-free, scum-free. Okay, these are in beautiful condition, made by the Cambridge Glass Company. And I've seen these in an Epern arrangement where the glass vases are all fitting into these candle holders, but I think most often you would see it as a candlestick extension. So we can take a single stick and immediately turn it into a 4-light stick. So turn it this way, you can see it fits right down in there. One large candle in the center, and then you have room for 3 other candles. So you'd have 8 candles all going at one time. Boy, that would be a classy dinner. So this I'm keeping. Let's get it out of the way. But the 2 Cambridge glass candlestick holder extenders, they're up for auction in the old curiosity shop. Now, this was in really good condition until I washed it. Sometimes this happens. None of the orange paint came off. The orange paint on this is not perfect, it's in used condition, but it's in really good shape, as you can see. This nut grinder was manufactured with this original decal on the front, and I just barely got this wet by wiping it off, and the decal just... But, you know, this needed to be cleaned. I don't think anybody would want to display it as dirty as it was. But I ruined the decal while I was cleaning it. It happens. Didn't mean to. It is made by Hazel Atlas. You can see the HA on the bottom. So many different models. I think last summer I did a video and I showed you about 15 different pictures of all the different shapes and colors. So, I know a lot of you have memories. These were made for many years and in many different styles and colors. Lots of nuts were ground, chopped for Christmas cookies with that. And then I have, also manufactured by Anchor Hocking, and they're a very popular charm pattern. Here's a nice little luncheon set. I blew on it because it's got dust on it. This was popular in the 1950s. And this is their ruby, royal ruby. And what you'll get in this set, it's a set for 2. And you know, sometimes, we don't always need to collect a whole dinner set for 8 or 12. If you like vintage things, start collecting little intimate sets for 2. And if you live alone, treat yourself. Buy a set for 1 and enjoy this beautiful glass. But what you'll get in this auction are 2 cups and saucers, 2 dessert bowls or berry bowls. There are no chips on any of this. And 2 generous size luncheon plates. These would be small dinner plates, but we're supposed to eat smaller portions anyway. So here you go. Dessert, lunch, dinner, salad. No harsh dishwasher damage on those or utensil marks. Now, Why did he buy that Fenton dish with a hole in the middle of it? Well, that's what it is. It's a Fenton dish plate. And it does have a hole in the middle of it. And this is called silver crest. Now, this isn't silver in color, it's clear glass, but they called it silver crest because it kind of looks silver in certain light. Let you have a close-up. You can see it's just clear glass. That's kind of cool. My head on a plate. Anyway, you don't just get this one piece with a hole in the middle of it. Wow. That's huge. Is that 12 inches across? 10, 11, 12? That's either 12 or 14 inches. I think it's 12 inches. I forget, and I don't have my... But here's the bottom of it. That doesn't look right. Oh, I see why. Hold on. I'm showing you this because you'll see how I'm going to be able to ship it. It's not going to have to go in a humongous box. Now let's screw this on without screwing it on so tightly that we break the doggone thing. Wonderful. This is not plastic that's been coated with a silvery metal. This is metal. And we see it's a beautiful three-tiered serving platter, or serving whatever you call it. And great for entertaining, weddings, Christmas time. Oh my goodness, you can do so much with this. And it is in excellent condition. There's not a chip, a scratch, a blemish, a flea bite, a gnat bite. There's nothing wrong with this at all. Super squeaky clean, nice shiny luster to the glass. I don't think it's hardly seen any use. I mean, how much damage can happen to it if you're just putting, you know, Granny's molasses cakes on it. So it's beautiful. Now this sells typically for between $40 and $50 at auction online. So I would expect it to bring that much if you're curious what it might sell for. But in the current state of the economy, I'm not really sure. I'm listing it anyway, and I will put a probably reserve open bid of, oh, fiddle. I'll probably say, now with an auction, I can put a, not a reserve, but the opening bid, and that would be the least I would take for it. I'll probably put an opening bid of something like $34.99. And we'll see where it goes. It might hit 40, it might hit 50, it might just sell for $34.99. I don't know, but it will be for sale. And of course, there'll be large pictures, detailed pictures, measurements, all of that. But we're really talking about one that's in absolutely super nice condition. I am going to be able to shrink it all down into a smaller box, but it still might not fit in a cubic foot box, I have to see. So shipping, not a whole lot I can do with shipping. We know that. Okay, did I get it all? Sort of. I have a mystery item to show you, but before I do that, I want to show you, do you remember I showed you the 1930s curtains with the big bold print, you know, in the dark salmon color? Well, out of the same estate and in the same box came some vintage neckties from the 1930s into the 40s, what they call jazz age, big band age ties, and they're very collectible. I love vintage ties, and I wear them. So I'm not selling any of these, but I wanted to show them to you. I'm wearing one right now. Some of the neckties in the 1980s look very similar to the earlier ties of the 1930s and 40s with the big bold prints. But once you study these ties, there's a way that you can tell from the tags, the stitching. These are always silk, and they're usually much wider at the bottom. And for men's ties, they're usually a lot shorter than the neckties that we wear in the modern age, the 1980s, 90s, and today. Neckties are very long, but years ago the style was for neckties to, not hang down to your knees, but really almost to be just about that short. Men wore vests anyway, and you normally didn't see how low the tie was. But this is one of the ties, and this tie right here is called rickety ties. I'd like to show you the tag. Try to anyway. Isn't that neat? I hope you can see it. And the ties are very much inspired by Art Deco. You can definitely see the Art Deco influence on these ties. These are all silk ties in really good condition. As I said, this is a Van Heusen. I love this with these diamonds on it. All very much from the period of, some of these from the late 30s into the 40s. This one is probably my favorite out of this batch because of how Art Deco it is. So this would definitely be one that probably dates to the 1930s rather than the 40s. You can just see it's extremely Art Deco. I hope you're able to see this in the light. And this is a Walter Jones, the Walter Jones Shop Distinctive Menswear in Reading, Pennsylvania. Superbia Cavits the Matterhorn. Well, I'll let you see how cool that tag is. Isn't that neat? And then I remember in the 1980s, because my father and I both wore these neckties. We still wore a lot of neckties in the 1980s. That whole casual stuff hadn't totally come in yet. But really skinny knit neckties made a comeback in the 1980s. I have one that I bought in the 1980s. It's upstairs. I'm not going to show it to you. But they were also popular in the 1920s and 30s. And here are some really old knit skinny neckties. These are not from the 1980s when they had a resurgence of popularity. This is a very old tie. And it seems as though the light, I don't really think you're getting a full. Can you see the colors? And I'd like you to see the tag on this one on the neck. I can't read it backwards, but you can see it. Wonderful. So, and this is black and orange, and this is going to be just, I seldom ever find these, so it was really great. This one, I don't see a tag, but we see this wonderful piece of silk right where it goes around your neck. Oh, there is a tag. And this one says English crochet, fashioned by, this is made of rayon, of course. You see the tag right there. I know you probably can't read it, but this is another one of these early ties that are completely knit. See that? So, haven't done anything to those yet, but what I'm going to do is, they're clean, but they do need to be ironed, and one thing you can do is soak them in something like Woolite and then just stretch them out sort of in between two very plush towels and just kind of pat the moisture off of them, let them air dry. That freshens them up. That'll get some little stains out if there are any, but it just makes them, absolutely clean. So I hope you enjoyed looking at those vintage ties. The suspenders that I have on are vintage 1930s suspenders, or braces, as you say in England and in other parts of the world. These I bought for $3, and they do date to the 1930s. You can't really tell that, but I can see by the tag and the clips and everything. The elastic is still good. And these came from the antique shop when I was visiting Angie and Vintage Vinny last month, 2 months ago. It seems like it was a completely different world. Okay, what in the heck is it? Well, it's decorative. I know that. And it's a serving tray because we have two handles to carry it with. The handles curve up just slightly. We can see that. And I'll turn it and show it to you. This is really interesting. So the center seems to be a piece of porcelain, and it's got a nice glaze on it. The only mark on the back of it are just a couple of numbers up here. There is a hallmark in the brass rim. And I know I'm not really, don't worry, I'm going to give you a close-up. Here's the, you're not going to be able to see how tiny this is, but I took a picture of it and I'm going to insert it. But I'll just bring it up to you right now. There is a hallmark right there. Here's a close-up of the hallmark. Take a good look at that. Okay, everybody memorize that, study that. Copy it down. And I'll tell you, I have done... Come here, puss. What do you think? You know, a 19-year-old cat is very docile when they first wake up. And so right now, all he really wants to do is probably use his litter pan, have some fancy feast, and go back to bed. So we'll let him do that. Okay, let's get back to this again. Let me hold it up so you can have a good look at it. Now what we see here are 3 men in Dutch costume. Now when I say Dutch, okay, we're talking about the Netherlands, I'm assuming. Okay, so I need my help from my friends in the Netherlands. I've got several fans who watch me. I shouldn't say fans. That sounds pompous. I have viewers from the Netherlands who watch. And, you know, I'm just going to say that these look like they're in typical traditional costumes of the country. And we don't really see, I don't see any windmills, but we see what looks like a church. And this is very crudely, I mean, it's beautiful, the colors and everything. This is all hand painted. But it's somewhat odd in that there are no facial features on this guy right here. I can't tell whether he's picking his nose or thumbing his nose at us. And we have no facial features on him. What's going on? Is this just purely a decorative scene? Does it mean nothing? Am I reading too much into it? But this is just, that's kind of funny to me. I'm not really sure what's going on. And it has a 1930s, it has an Art Deco feel to it. Now, when I say Art Deco, it's really the elements that we see all around the perimeter of this brass tray. It just has kind of a deco feel to me. I don't think my light is very good, so let me sit back down here where I was and show it to you again in the light. Now again, as I said, I haven't tried to research that hallmark at all. I don't know if this is European made or American made. I think it's just a decorative serving tray. It is all hand painted. I would love to know who made it. My feeling is that it dates back to the night. I have a feeling that we're looking at something from the 1930s, 20s, 30s. But I really don't know. So you've got the hallmark. The back is, as I said, porcelain, beautifully finished on the back as well. And all you get up here are just a few numbers, as you can see. This is not the Statue of Liberty. It's not a windmill. It's not any particular building that anybody can recognize. So who knows? I see no artist's signature on it, but it is clearly hand painted. And I've had this for a little while and just thought we would do sort of a show and tell and see what you think. Okay, so that's that. Well, everyone, I want to say thank you for watching. I am able to get packages currently to the post office. I am only leaving my house to go to the post office once a week. So I'm trying to let everybody know I'm almost caught up on everything that needed to be shipped. But anything else that ends, I'm trying to limit how much I go out, because I'm trying to be very cognizant of the fact that I feel perfectly fine and have no symptoms, but we just don't know. And because I'm around my older relatives, I don't want to jeopardize their health in any way. So I'm limiting my time outside. I know you are too. It's going to be this way for the entire month of April, as we know, and probably beyond that. So I'm going to do my best to try to keep you entertained every couple of days. Who knows? It may be a cooking show. I may film myself vacuuming the carpet. I don't know. But it's good to stay in touch. And let me know how you're doing in the comments. Send me an email. And stay connected. Try to keep a normal schedule. I'm doing that as well. Going to bed at a certain time, getting up at a certain time, eating 3 meals a day at a certain time, getting dressed. It's easy to. I know what it is to experience depression, and so there are things we can do to try to help ourselves. I don't really want to go into that. I wasn't even planning on mentioning it, and I know I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. But very good. Okay, maybe some more about that later. This is Scott from the Old Curiosity Shop saying thanks for watching and so long for now. What is this?